Hey everyone, here's the next video in the 90s nostalgia series. This is about the trading card game and also a video game, TV show, toy line called Pokemon, about characters collecting monsters. At least that's how the show and the video game were, collecting the monsters. This is one of the tools used to collect the monster called Pokeball. And the main focus of this video will be about the trading card game itself, which could be kind of like emulating the battle features of the Pokemon franchise. And you could collect the cards, play the card game against other people, and basically battle with the characters, the monster characters in the cards, the Pokemon. And when this first came from Japan to the US in the late 90s, a lot of buzz was going on about the trading card game, collecting the cards, having them to either battle other people with the card games or to just obtain a decent collection for showing off or for just having for fun. One of the things that really excited kids back then about the Pokemon card game was the actual obtaining of the cards themselves, because whenever you bought a booster pack, which is just a select few, 9 I believe cards in a package, you didn't exactly know what you were going to get when you opened the package. So sometimes there was hope that you would get a rare card or a holographic card or any sort of interesting card that you were seeking to get. And there was also the starter packs, I believe. I'm not sure if that's the case with this card game. I don't recall. Maybe that was another card game. But outside of collecting small packets of the Pokemon cards, you could also go to different vendors, I think mostly video game stores at the time. They would have something like this, a binder with the cards in them, and they would put a price tag on each of the cards, and you can buy them individually for however much the vendor decided to sell them. And so I'm going to flip through some of these pages. These were some of the cards that I have amassed over the late 90s, and the coloring of the card indicates the type of the Pokemon. I think purple was a psychic Pokemon, green is like grass, red fire, more grass, and then you can see the characters look similar. That means they are the evolution of the previous character. This Charmander became a Charmeleon, Bulbasaur becomes Ivysaur. And if you look closely at the cards, they show weakness of this type, fire, weakness is water, and to retreat you have to have one of these energy cards, which were here. So if you can see, the gameplay may be a little bit complex, but once you understand the rules you could probably enjoy it more. And this is the energy card. There's several like this, just star in a ball, different color. So this is just like a colorless energy. The red would be fire if this was red, blue water, etc. And there's little details inside the card themselves that tell you about attacks the card has. So scratch, this card can do that attack for that much damage. Ember tells you how to do it. You have to discard one energy card, fire energy, and then you can do a damage of 30. These are the cards you need to do it. And so you can kind of get the idea. And at the top, how many hit points the card has. 50 hit points for this Charmander. So after that is all gone, then the card is basically useless. 80 hit points for the evolution of Charmander, which is Charmeleon. And there are some other cards, trainer cards, that have different abilities that help with the gameplay, help facilitate the gameplay or advance the gameplay. Your opponent shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck, then draws 7 cards. So, if you wanted to get into the gameplay, you would have to have a firm understanding of the rules, have an idea of how to strategize using the abilities of the cards and other supporting cards, the monsters themselves, whatnot. But for me at least, the fun of the Pokemon in the 90s era came from amassing the cards, purchasing booster packs, seeing what you get, building a decent collection, and being surprised or excited when something nice came in the booster pack that you got, because this was kind of a fad that took the younger generation by storm. Here's a Japanese card, so I can't really play with that in the trading card game, but it's nice to have in the collection. Squirtle, Wartortle, and some more characters. Blues, Water, evolution of this one. Again, the fad took the younger generation by storm. Oh, here's a Nidoqueen. This is the highest evolution of the basic character. 90 HP, stronger attacks. Retreat cost is higher. Weak. This is the weakness of the leaf monsters. Oh, this is a duplicate, so I have 2 of the same monster. And at the time, in grade school, just from the word of mouth and the buzz that this Pokemon card game was drawing, kids were getting eager to obtain cards for themselves, to have their own collection, to trade with other people for different cards. These were some of my favorites here. Magmar, Arcanine. And I recall in grade school, in one of my classes, there was, I think, just one student that didn't get into this Pokemon fad, and in hindsight, that kid was probably one of the smartest people in the class, because he didn't waste any time or money with this. I don't know if it's like considered a hobby or just an interest, but he didn't waste any time with it. He never got into it from the start, and that was in hindsight, that was a good decision, because the fad went out in the early 2000s. I think the replacement for this was something called Yu-Gi-Oh! And so the fad was alive for a while, but then it died. And obtaining these cards in the beginning was not easy once the buzz was going about and once people were really interested, because they would sell out the booster packs at the stores. They would sell out, and then whenever they would do a new release, there would actually be like lines and people waiting for them, rushing to get them as soon as they were put on the shelf, as soon as the stores opened. And it was something that kind of rivaled the Black Friday rush and excitement of just getting one thing. I vividly recall getting some booster packs from Target and having to wait until they put them on the shelves and wait in line, and then as soon as they put them on the shelf, it was just kind of like grab as many as you can within the limit that they allow you to purchase. And there were different versions. There was a first version of the booster pack, which had some of the iconic original monsters in the series, and then a later version of the booster packs that had some more, because there was like 150 main characters in the beginning, And so they did a first wave with a few characters being released, then a second wave. And I think it was during that second wave that I was talking about at Target. They would actually kind of like set up their own little area. I think it wasn't even in the place where you think, the video game area, the electronics area. I think they had to move it to the side and just have a little display just for Pokemon itself, because it was drawing so much of a crowd that it would, you know, clutter the aisleways for regular shoppers. Here are the, I guess, the rarest cards that I have, and there's some information at the bottom. I think they would star the rare cards and show how many. 13 out of 64. It's probably some indication of some sort about the rarity. Pidgeot, Vermoth, or Venomoth, Haunter. These are holograph. I don't know if you can see that well. If I just tilt it a little bit, you can see it shines. Holographic. Ninetales, Vaporeon, Kabutops. And also in the collecting of the cards, whenever you would try to get a specific card and you didn't want to just sift through tons of booster packs and try to find the one that you're looking for, you could go to I think it was video game stores that carried them. You could go to a video game store, they would have a binder like this or some sort of display, and then they would individually price cards that they had for sale, and based on the rarity of the card, the price would be either anywhere from like a few cents to $1 to $2 to $10 to I think even $50 to $100 for just one card. And then you could buy from the vendor just based on the price they set, like kind of like a garage sale style. That was another way to bolster your collection. And I guess this is the last page, so this is the first at the top of well, this is the first page really, first, second, third, and then this is the first card in the first page, Zapdos. I think I had to either trade for this or purchase from someone. Pretty good card because it had 90 hit points and it could do damage of up to 60 or 100, and you needed these energy cards to do it. And even had a resistance against ground characters, -30. Oh, and also a description of the card themselves, describing the monster. Legendary bird Pokemon. So I guess this one was my favorite because obviously I put it here for a reason at the top. This is another version of Zapdos. This is the, like I said, the first wave, and this is the second wave. It's not as, I don't think this one is as clean looking as this one, and the abilities significantly less. But that was something exciting for kids in the 90s, collecting these cards. And again, I said in hindsight, I mean, the fad went out, so if people that spent a lot of time and money with this, I mean, all they have to show for it is just a collection that just really has, I guess, no value unless you want to sell it for some dollars. But again, it was more about the excitement of collecting those cards, either through buying booster packs, either through trading, through buying individual cards from vendors or other people, friends. And I never really got into the gameplay because it's kind of complex if you don't really have a firm grasp of the rules. But it was still, you know, there's the iconic Pikachu. I think this is like second wave of it, or third, can't remember. Again, the fun was just the collecting of the cards, obtaining the cards, and that was something for kids to get excited about in the 90s. Thank you for watching.